Throughout the 19th century, St. Louis was a rapidly growing place, from a small fur trading village into a densely built up urban and industrial environment. And death was very much a part of life in ways that are reflected in the city that we live in today. The meteoric population booms, relentless waves of epidemics, and harsh realities behind the medical advancements that we enjoy today were all things that 19th century St. Louisans were dealing with on a daily basis, and their legacies are all around us now. During the colonial period, burials were occurring in vacant areas just outside the village. But as land became more valuable, bodies were often reinterred, which is a nice way of saying dug up and moved, in exchange for development. But real estate value was not the only issue. People feared that those that had died from diseases like cholera could also spread the disease even in death. And so they wanted those bodies kind of away from population centers if possible. In the 1820s, the city officially says no more new cemeteries in the city limits. Every time the city limits grows, they have to dig up those bodies and move them to new cemeteries. That happens several times to tens of thousands of people. And those spaces, though, weren't always just built over with buildings. For example, the lovely Benton Park in South St. Louis was originally known as City Cemetery, and it opened in the 1830s. It was full by the 1850s, though. And in 1859, the cemetery was closed, and all of the remains were moved onto an island in the middle of the Mississippi River, known as Arsenal Island. Arsenal Island also had a hospital as well as a big vegetable farm. Islands in the Mississippi are actually just sandbars, and they will eventually start to wash away. So as the sandbars started to wash away and move, so did those bodies. And so all of those remains, plus the ones that had been added during the Civil War, were all reinterred at the new Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. Death was also present in a different way, in the form of the practice of body snatching. Body snatching, as opposed to grave robbing, involved the theft of a newly deceased person's body from their burial location. And the majority of those thefts affected members of marginalized communities and from lower social economic classes. Those bodies weren't stolen for no reason, though. They were stolen and given to medical colleges to use for anatomy classes and to study diseases. And as the study of medicine began to quickly evolve in the mid-19th century, so did the need for more and more cadavers to supply the medical schools. So there becomes a major tension between the honorable doctors and their medical advancements and the realities of cadaver procurement. And that's something that people have to really struggle with. Just as those new medical technologies become available, so do new burial practices that were meant to protect your loved ones from being disturbed once they were in the ground. In St. Louis, the person most associated with this time is a man named Dr. Joseph Nash McDowell. He's a highly eccentric but also gifted doctor that moves to St. Louis and founds the first medical school west of the Mississippi. On more than one occasion, violent mobs stormed McDowell's medical college, fueled by this discovery of an empty grave. He was able to escape them in various ways, once by flashing his arsenal of Revolutionary War weapons, once with his bear, his pet bear, and once by laying flat under a sheet, the mob never lifting it because they were looking for a small child. And these are just a few of the ways that the rapidly changing technologies and attitudes towards death in the 19th century show up in our built environment today.
To learn more about the Missouri Historical Society, visit mohistory.org.